Hello, Cooped Up World. My name is Jeff Kass, and I'm a high school English teacher in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I teach 10th grade English, 4 sections, and creative writing. I just want to say hi. We're all in this together. Everybody separated. So I just want to talk to you a little bit, read some poems, and, talk about writing a little bit. I'll tell you about my books first. This is one of my books. It's called Knuckleheads. It is a short story collection. It won from independent publishers the gold medal for best short fiction collection of 2011. Just check it out if you want stories about men doing stupid stuff. My first poetry collection full length is called My Beautiful Hook-Nosed Beauty Queen Strut Wave. Came out in 2014. I'll be telling you more about that in a minute. And my most current book, Teacher/Pizza Guy, just came out this fall. I'll talk about that one later too. So what I want to do here is just kind of read some poems, talk about writing, and just, connect, say what's up. So this book, My Beautiful Hook-Nosed Beauty Queen Strut Wave, I know, long title, hard to pronounce. It was kind of an autobiography in a way. I wrote this in my late 40s, and it was a sort of here's who I am and here's how I got here kind of thing. How did I become this high school teacher / writer / Lyft driver / part-time coach on my son's baseball team? So it's kind of like just telling the story of this average human being in his late 40s and how he got to this place. So I want to read a poem also about kind of getting to a place. When I grew up, I loved playing baseball. And of course, like most young kids, I started as an infielder. I used to play first base, which was like where all the action was. People try to throw you the ball and you got to catch it. But I eventually became an outfielder. And nobody wants to play outfield when you first start as a young kid, because not enough balls get hit there. But as you get older and balls start flying out there, yeah, it's a good place to play. But it wasn't just because more balls came that I grew to love the position. So when I was thinking about why did I really love that position, what about it was important to me, that's what made this poem. It's called Becoming an Outfielder. Becoming an outfielder felt like a demotion. I had always played first base, anchored the diamond, the steady throat swallowing all flavor of dart lacing across dirt, the vertex of every angled out. But our coach grew tired of Franklin Jackson roaring anthems over the addled heads of our spinning left field carousel, and truthfully, so did I. The switch seemed to pay the first inning of that first game when Franklin smacked his usual bomb of rising banana split erupting cream, and I read its arc and shape shifted my body to panther slide and cheetah leap, and with a dashing backhand snatch tamed Franklin's venom. Just another dart that died in my merciless mitt. But Franklin, too, had a body and a backup generator pulsing at the grinding core of his hips. And from 200 plus of the longest rec league feet away, I could almost see the chugging factory rebuild itself stronger, cull more spark and grease from its fiery vault. And when he swung his next time up, my lungs blew themselves into a sailing kite and clung to the wake of his tallest tail's tailing flight. But despite my lunge and dive, I could not divine a line to intersect his monstrous drive, and I watched it roll down the Stone Gate stairs and through the parking lot I used to traverse every summer from 3rd grade through 8th, when baseball camp lunch found me walking to the deli for a buttered Kaiser roll and a strawberry red soda known as a Tahitian treat. And sometimes my mother would sport me a couple extra dollars, and I'd ride my bike in the flaccid afternoon to the PX Theater and see a G-rated movie, something like Herbie. And I've always found the outfield to be something like that. Like walking into a dark theater when you're young and small and alone, and you got so many choices about where to locate your body and your feet and your hands. And don't we live for challenges like this? For the chance to stand ready on this sometimes fertile mud, to hear a cataclysmic crack and know the doom is entrusted to our own tending, to know it is up to us to read the wind, to rhyme the spin, to run, to leap, to dive, to snatch, to hold. Yeah, the outfield. Know what I mean? Like sometimes that ball's just hit out there and it's on you. If you don't make the play, no one else is going to. And it's going to be a lot of damage for the other team. So it's up to you. And you got to make, how many chances in life do you have to do that? Where it's up to you. That's what I loved about playing the outfield. All right, want to read some more to y'all. As a teacher now, it's a struggle out here in Michigan. Money's been cut from the educational budget over the last decade or so. Most teachers I know have to have another income in some kind of way, a second job. Like I said, right now I'm driving Lyft, which is, it's all right, but you can't do it right now because of the virus and nobody's going anywhere anyway, so can't make any money doing that. Couple years ago, before I started driving Lyft, I was delivering pizzas. So that was really hard. If you could imagine the idea of like teaching all day in school, get home at 4 o'clock, maybe chill for an hour or two, watch your kids play sports if you got a chance, and then 6 o'clock, go into your shift and not be done till 5 in the morning, and then go back to school the next day. That's kind of what life was like. So I wrote this book, Teacher/Pizza Guy. You can see I got my I voted sticker on the front of it because, yeah, I voted. But also, that was a hard year, really tough. And for me, I didn't go into it thinking I was going to write a book. But what I realized along the way was the only way to make it through those long, hard, difficult nights was to make some art out of it. Somehow create something out of nothing. And that's really what I love about writing the most. It's like you got nothing, a blank page or a blank screen. And then just from your own brain, your imagination, you create something that maybe somebody else will read or listen to. And maybe it'll make them think something or feel something. So that's what I did. The first poem I want to read is about just like rules, because sometimes rules at school are weird and they don't always do what you want them to do. Most schools that I've taught in now have this rule that kids can't wear headphones because we don't want them tuning out on teachers. And I understand that. Believe me, I don't let kids wear headphones in the classroom unless they're writing on their own and it helps them. But in the hallways, I don't really have a problem with it. But for some reason, a lot of schools, including ours, like, nope, can't wear headphones in the hallway. Yeah. I'm also have to let you know that I'm going to sing in this poem, and I can't sing, so it's going to be horrible. But I think everybody has that right. Everybody's got that right to sing badly at least once in their life. So I'm going to try to do that. This poem's got a repeating refrain called "Young Man, Take Your Headphones Out." Young man, take your headphones out is the refrain of Ian's poem. And the refrain he hears each morning when he pushes into the building at 7:30 a.m., sleet stinging his face. Young man, take your headphones out, Ian hears and obeys long enough to move past the line of sight of the assistant principal yelling at him through a megaphone before he puts them back in. Young man, take your headphones out, Ian hears in his sleep when he eats a foil pack of Pop-Tarts for breakfast as he clambers onto his bicycle and whatever the weather, rides it to school. Young man, take your headphones out, I hear, as I pull into traffic, seeing Ian's anguished face as he sits atop the classroom radiator, hearing his throaty voice when he reads his poem, as I half listen to the radio, late already, on my way to deliver my 20th pizza of the night. Young man, take your headphones out, I hear as the first few notes from Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" play through the car's speakers, and despite my tardiness, I pull over into a 7-Eleven parking lot. Young man, take your headphones out, Ian repeats as the anchor of his poem, a custody-sharing tale of 3 days a week with his father and 4 with his mother. Young man, take your headphones out as he rides his bike back and forth between parents, and the only thing he takes with him everywhere, his music. The only stability in his life, on his bike, in the hallways, in his head, his music. Young man, take your headphones out, disappears as I sit in the parking lot, engine running for 3 minutes, just so I can hear Whitney drag out that long, and I about 5-6 of the way through that song. And just how that single stretched out vowel, that one sparkling sound, will buoy me through the rest of this shift. maybe the rest of the week, the school year, who knows, maybe even my whole damn career. Yeah, that's tough, man, doing that kind of work. I'm just going to read one more poem. This is the most important poem in the collection, probably the best poem in the collection, maybe the best poem I've ever written. It's a tough poem. It's a personal story for me that I don't really like to put out there, but it's important that people understand. And even now, when most of us are staying home and trying to self-isolate and everything, there's people out there preparing our food, doing work for us, stocking shelves, taking risks because, well, they got to make enough money to pay the rent or pay whatever other bills they have. And do we care about them enough? I wonder. All right, so yeah, this poem is called "The Manager Talks About Getting Engaged." And it's a little bit longer, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. The manager talks about getting engaged. "I think I'm ready," he says. "What was it like for you? Did you do anything special?" The story is, yes, it was, in fact, special, but not because of any particular planning or creative proposaling. It was spontaneous, and actually, I don't want to talk about it. Despite all my admonitions to my writing students about vanquishing vagueness, this is not a story I'd like to share. It involves Santa Cruz and sea lions and a tall, bearded man playing bagpipes in the midst of a mournful fog. And that's all I'm going to say. This story is for me and for Karen. And maybe one day for our children. I hold it tight to my chest. I want to keep it like that. An heirloom. Except it's nearing 5 a.m. when he asks. And I'm mopping the floor. Sort of. It's been a long, unnerving night. Ice and snow and roads that want to bite. And he's counting money in the register and accomplishing other mysterious paperwork-related functions. I think I made about $105 in tips. Add on the 54 cents per mile and the $5.25 an hour salary. And I'm around $180 for 11 hours. Not horrible, but the floor sneers daunting and salty, and the water in the mop bucket already swims swampy. So I'm swishing back and forth as quickly as I can, but the truth is the world's not a whole lot cleaner. And my arms and upper back feel like I just survived 6 minutes wrestling against a state champ. So I'm half tempted to tell the story just to cheer my own damn self up. Earlier, a university professor tipped $5 on a $97 bill. And he also declined to meet me at the door in the midst of the snowiest bluster. Sent down a student clearly unprepared to schlep 7 pizzas, including one gluten-free, upstairs to the classroom, so I did it for him. An extra 10 minutes of my time while another customer's delivery camped in the car. And I don't know what kind of class it was, possibly marketing, something in a how to make money by lying to people genre. About 30 undergrads inhabited the classroom, each likely capable of chipping in a buck, though none offered. And I considered making a public announcement exposing their instructor as a 6% tipper after he asked me a bunch of bullshit questions like, do I get sick of pizza? And does my car smell like pizza? And so much me wanted to say, listen up, students. This dude right here who's grading your papers, or more likely foisting that job onto a graduate assistant who gets paid little more than expired lettuce, is trying to make nice with me. Act like he recognizes the complexity of my humanity. But he just tipped $5 on a $97 bill, and you do the math. That adds up to an asshole at the extreme tail of the bell curve. And I got 2 kids I'm not putting to bed right now, not helping with their homework, not standing next to in the washroom as they floss and brush their teeth, and I still got 9 hours to go on this shift. Then it's sleep 2 hours and snap my sorry ass awake from my son's hockey game. So if you learn one lesson this semester, how about it's every person who's ever served you anything, fed you or cooked for you or refilled your coffee or refolded a sweater you left in a heap after fingering through the bargain rack. Every damn one of them might have a magical story comprised of sea lions and bagpipes and mournful fog they hold close to their chests. But I don't say any of that, and I feel smaller for it. I want to be the fiery teacher I once was, unafraid of losing his job, unwilling to compromise a principled belief or stand in muted silence when an explosion's brewing in his throat and the manager's looking up from his register, his own shoulders looking like pumpkins 3 weeks after Halloween, deflated, nibbled apart by squirrels, and I pushed that mop harder, trying now to make the floor Cinderella sparkle, for we who close the store at 5 a.m. must be our own fairy godmothers, our own Prince Charmings. There is no one else in this moment for us, no one thinking of us but us. And I polish that floor so it shines like a glass slipper, and the bark of sea lions lurches upwards from hundreds of feet below the craggy cliffs, and it roars onto my tongue. Actually, I say, special doesn't begin to describe. It was in Santa Cruz, and we were on this bluff, and the wind had that kind of chill like somebody pressing fingernails into the hollow of your back. So I gave her my sweatshirt. It was royal blue, with for some reason the number 88 sewn onto the front in a white patch. And we could hear some guy playing bagpipes, sending his screeching prayer into the mist. And down below on the beach, sea lions. Down below on the beach, and she looked at me, and we could hear. And she started nodding her head. And I said, "What are you saying yes to? What are you saying yes to?" But I already knew. Thank you so much for listening to my poems. I hope you make some art. Enjoy this time you got. If you're at home, doing what you got to do. We'll get through this all together. Peace, y'all.